welcome again. My name is Banu, and I am host and producer of a show called Yogaxpress. We air every Monday, 7:30 to 8, and we bring on our show many experienced and really delightful yoga teachers. Drue Michael is one of them. Drue, to my left, has been in our program, at least 5 to 6 episodes?
Yeah, a couple times.
And it was quite a while ago that we had you on, so I had to have Drue on again. You really give us a good workout without me feeling too nervous about it. So thank you for coming back.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's always fun to have you on. I'd also like to, and you also know where to reach Drue right there on the screen. You're on Vimeo, Instagram, and I think the bottom line, even though it's not visible, it'll also be at the end of the show. You will be able to get him on Vimeo, Instagram, and Tumblr. So I am Drue Michael, correct?
I am Drue Michael.
How come you don't have a website?
I'm working on it.
Oh, wow. But you're all over the
construction.
place already, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of projects going on right now.
Right.
A lot of little projects.
Simultaneously.
Yeah.
Thanks to our crew as well. Ryan for the setup, Lizette, our director, and Akram. The three of you have made us look so good here. Thank you so much for being here for us, with us. So we are good. I'm good to stretch with you, Drue. And whatever you do, just make sure you don't make me stand on my head. I said the same thing to one of our teachers yesterday, Natalie. But yesterday was a different reason. Today,
Yeah.
I just know I cannot do it on my head.
Well, I wouldn't do that. I don't want anyone doing it at home if they're not used to doing it in their practice. Because if you fall, you'll be all alone. No one will be there to help you.
True. And there must be a trick to doing headstands anyway. It's not about, I'm sure that it's about technique more than anything, right?
You really want to make sure your foundation is strong if you're going to do it, but also you have to get over the fear of going upside down.
Right.
And you also need to consider what your body weight is. We all have the same, neck, but if your body weight is high, then it's going to put a lot of strain on traction on the neck. So you got to, make smart decisions about it.
And your sanskar tattoo, I love that. I saw it last time as well. Sanskar, you know what? Last time you asked me, and I found out a little more. Sanskar is more like an ownership in Sanskrit. Like, this is my sanskar, this is my privilege, this is mine, like peace is my sanskar. So I don't know if I gave you a different definition, but you probably know more about it now than I do anyway.
I like to just keep learning more about it. There's always a story with every tattoo, and this one is very full, and the story is big. I like it, yeah.
And sanskar has a very deep meaning, too.
Yeah. I like
Drue, if you're going to take us through, how are we going to work it today? Are you going to start with breathing?
I thought we'd stay kind of low to the floor and do some hip openers, some seated poses.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's kind of where my body is feeling like going today. So.
Right. Hey, I'm good. And you've been teaching. Actually, before we start, do you want to just let your viewers know, you teach in New York? How can they reach you other than...
I do. I teach at Sonic Yoga in Hell's Kitchen. I have a Tuesday morning class at 7 a.m., so it's a sunrise class.
It is.
And I also teach for the New York sports clubs and 24-hour fitness.
Right.
So a lot of gym yoga, but I try to bring as much spirituality and what I call spirit science to my classes as possible without it being like denominational. So, So everyone feels comfortable. They don't have to worry that you're going to take them on some kind of a religious journey. Yeah, I'm not going to try to, make anyone conform. I Om in almost all of my classes, and people don't have to Om if they don't want to, but I feel like it's a safe enough thing to do. It's just the sound of the universe. I feel like people can handle that. But yeah, we don't get into a lot of chanting or... sometimes we do a little pranayama, but not a lot.
Yeah, the breathing, yeah. Okay, I'm good. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, cool. So let's start actually in Baddha Konasana. So bringing your feet together to touch, your knees apart. And I've been joking with my students because for me, I have a nursing a knee issue. And so my heels can't touch my inseam, but eventually they would.
So am I supposed to bring it close if I can?
As long as you don't feel like you're tipping back on your tailbone.
Yeah, that might happen too.
So everyone at home can feel their little sitting bones. Underneath each buttock, there's a little pokey bone. And if you're behind them, that's when you roll onto your tailbone. What we want is to be right on top. And I can actually use my arms to help me I pull my ankles towards me and I lift my heart even bigger. And as you exhale, you bring your heart forward and release over your feet. So what I've been telling my students is that you're working towards touching your third eye to your big toes. And then eventually maybe the chin to the big toes, and then the throat, and then the collarbones, and so on until the toes are touching your belly button.
Oh, wow.
So not today, but one day. And making sure you release the back of your neck here. I feel like a lot of our practices this time of year should be a little on the therapeutic side.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, so this is what's feeling good for my body right now.
Feels good.
And I also started to encourage people to kind of sway here a little bit. So allowing your torso to sway like a pendulum from side to side. You can kind of lean to one knee, then lean towards the other knee. And just feeling how your torso connects into your pelvis.
That's almost hypnotic.
Yes. Well, that's part of our job as yoga teachers, is to hypnotize the masses.
So they don't have any fear.
Well, and so we let go of our mind stuff, our extra mind stuff, and we just let ourselves kind of dive into our bodies. And then go ahead and sit yourself back up. And then you're going to bring your hands behind you, fingertips forward. So press into the heels of your hands, and then lift the front of your heart, keeping the front of your throat open and the back of the neck still long. So I tell my students, like you're holding a grapefruit under your throat. Take one more breath into your ribs. Awesome. Then go ahead and sit back up. We're going to take our right hand down to the right side on the floor, and then reach your left arm up and over your head. And start to open up your side body on the left. Let your head completely fall onto your right shoulder.
Yeah, I need to move my feet a little further.
Oh, yeah. Always okay to make adjustments. And then start to make some circles with this top arm. Nice and big, not too fast. We're really just trying to define the parameters of our left shoulder today. And at some point, you might even take your arm a little behind you and turn your heart up towards the sky. So twisting the heart up, and then turn the heart down towards the right knee. So feeling that space between your left scapula and the spine. Reach the left arm straight up again and over your head. And then let's switch sides. So coming over, left hand down onto the floor, left side, reach your right arm up and over your head. Let the head completely fall. So we're really releasing in the right side of our neck here. And then see if you can make some circles through the right arm. Any way you like. So there's never a wrong way to do this. And I like practices where you let your students move at their own pace because they allow themselves to be tapping into that inner creativity. Maybe you turn your heart up at some point and stretch the heart towards the sky. And then you turn your heart down also towards the floor. So all the sides of the heart, not just the front of the heart. When we think heart, we always think the front of the chest. But it's also in the back of the heart. It's in the side ribs. Coming back to reach just the right arm up and over. And then go ahead and sit yourself back up.
Ooh, I needed that. Feels good.
I feel like I'm in a different plane now. And so now we're going to do some more hip opening. First, let's lean back into our hands. Bring your feet as wide as your mat. And I'm not using a mat, but pretend I were. Knees knocked together. And then you scooch your seat a little forward. So knees are still together, but my seat is closer to my heels. And then I can feel one knee at a time come in. So I'm windshield wipering my knees. And you want to take this kind of slow too. It's very simple stretches today. And a lot of free-flowing movement. So this is an internal rotation. Feel this in our hip flexors and in the front of the quadricep muscles in the front of the thigh.
I feel it in my quads, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Well, New Yorkers have a lot of tension in their quads, among other places. And then we're going to sit up again and let your left leg stay in front of you. Bring your right leg behind. So we're sitting in what I call a Z-sit. And that's the professional term, I guess. The right sitting bone is down. And even now, just sinking your right sitting bone down, you can kind of feel a release here. If it's not enough for you at home, you can lean back into your hands even more. But if your sitting bone isn't down, don't even bother leaning back. Just concentrate on that. Yeah, and you're going to feel that really nice right here too.
I should take my leg back a little like you've got.
You can decide if you want your knee closer to your foot or further away.
Right, now I feel that stretch because you kept saying I should feel it, and I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah,
something
maybe you're really open there. And it all depends on how, like, the shape of your pelvis. So if it's more
Right.
like this or more like that.
Right, no, I feel it now. This is
Yeah.
perfect.
Now what I've been asking people to try is to pick up the left foot.
Okay,
And hug it
there's
towards
a
the
trick.
heart.
I knew you were building towards
Yes.
something.
We had to do something. And then this is fun. You can stir the pot with your foot. That's always fun. I like to take the left foot. I lean back and I open the left heel out a little bit. And then you can decide, there's two versions of this other thing. You can take your right hand to hold the foot and you could extend the foot forward. So that's kind of a intense hamstring stretch. The other version would just be to have the foot down and you could twist a little this way. Because there's a twist involved. And then some people could actually grab for the foot and twist. So this is that version. The other version would be if you were still here, to grab the foot and then twist.
I can twist, letting go of my arm.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a
Would it have-
balance
would it have
too.
a similar effect if I kept my hand on the...
Yeah, you're still getting the stretch through the back of your leg, and you're still
Oh.
getting a twist. We've already done some arm openings, so it doesn't actually matter in the arm. Go ahead and release that, and let's do the other side. So we're going to switch our legs. If you need a minute to butterfly your knees, you can. And then bring the left leg behind. And you're going to realize here that like maybe one side of your pelvis is more open, the other one's a little bit more closed, because we're not symmetrical. So that's true of my pelvis.
And it is for me. This side is lifting up more.
Yeah.
So I can push
So I'm going to focus on that first, the sinking down of my left sitting bone, and then I'm going to start to say, okay, now maybe I'm ready to lean back. And as we talked about before, the knee could be closer to the foot. Sometimes that works better for people, or it could be more opened out.
Let's see which one gives me a stretch. Yeah, I think your way is better.
Yeah. Sometimes I alternate. Let's see what works. Some days I'm more open, some days I'm not so open. And then, as we did before, if you have it in your practice to be able to hold the foot, this one might get a little
Wow,
closer.
how do you get it all the way up there?
We're working towards
Oh,
touching the third eye,
all right,
and then
that's
eventually
happening in my mind.
heel to crown. You could do all the different things, stirring the pot. You could lean back. So this one's a little harder. I'm just holding my right heel with my right hand. Yeah. And of course, even with my knee issue, if I take it really slow, I don't feel it so much in my knee. It's all hip opening.
Right.
Some people at home might be thinking like, oh, not with my knees, but just take it slow. Maybe the foot doesn't come up right away. And then the other version would be left arm across, left hand across. You could extend here. If it's not happening at this level, it could always happen on the floor as well.
So are my arms shorter? Because I can't seem to straighten my leg.
I don't think I have pretty short arms. It is difficult because, our legs are obviously longer than our arms.
Right, but what is the trick? How come?
My leg is
Isn't it
lifted
straighter?
pretty high.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So let me see.
So
if
this
I-
is quite the hamstring stretch. I do a lot of forward folds in my practice,
So that. Okay.
that's my secret, I guess. Wonderful. And then release that down. Excellent. And then go ahead and bring, again, your left foot around to front. Let's do a forward fold. I think that's a good idea. So
Yeah.
our
Oh, I
legs,
need this.
our legs need to be extended for a second. The cool thing about doing your own practice is you start to feel when something just needs to happen. And especially in Vinyasa Yoga, we do a lot of counter pose.
Right.
So we'll do something this way, and then afterwards you're like, oh, I feel like I need to do it
I need
this
to do
way.
the other side too.
Yeah, exactly.
I want the viewers to be able to see you, so I'm going to move that out of your
Oh.
way.
Well, it was only blocking my soles at my feet. So here in our seated forward fold, we're going to make sure our sitting bones are connected to the earth. So you can move flesh out of the way if you need to. Flex and point the feet. See what's up with your ankles. They're probably nice and warm.
Yes, sometimes I feel a pop in my right ankle.
Okay.
Are those just air pockets? Do I need to?
It could be. It could be a number of things. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, this would help a lot.
Does it hurt when it pops?
No,
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't.
That's probably just, air or the tendon moving over,
Oh.
something like that. So we're going to bring our arms forward and up. Palms face one another, shoulders are down. Actually, I really like to interlace the fingers here, and then I flip the palms up and I press. That feels nice.
Yeah, it does.
And before we forward fold, let's do one more thing to open our hearts. So bring your arms down, and then interlace your hands behind your back, and then pull the knuckles straight back. So at home, if you can't see, I'm just pulling down like that.
Turn around,
Yeah. And then you could also flip your palms in order to kind of press into your palms. So it depends on how backbendy you are or how open your shoulders are.
So you got your palms facing the rug.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Palms on floor. And I'm conscious of what my elbows are doing. I don't want my elbows to lock out too much because that can hurt the tendon. And then go ahead and come back up. Arms back up again. And then reaching forward for the feet.
Oh, that was good prep.
Yeah, exactly. I liked it. It almost warranted like a, When I do my practice at home, I really don't do a lot of advanced asana on the daily.
Right.
I just do simple stuff just to keep my body healthy.
Right.
So all of this is exactly what I would be doing. And then, because I really like to do the splits, I would throw in some of that. But then again, some days the splits happen and some days they don't. So again, here you can sway if you want. Let the head really go. And really, if you can grab your feet, pull those toes back. If you can't grab the feet, you can always grab for the calves. Some people will put a towel around their feet and hold the towel.
Right.
Take one more breath. Wonderful. And then let's go ahead and sit ourselves back up. Let's just do a downward facing dog. I feel like that could be a really good complete practice for us today. So swing your legs around behind you. Come on to all fours. Hands and knees. Spread those fingers really wide. And put a lot of weight into the fingertips, the knuckles, the other knuckles, the center of the palms, not so much the heel of the hand. Bend the elbows. Shoulders are down the back, elbows are slightly bent, toes are tucked. Let's do a little cat and cow first. So let the belly sink down, inhale, look up. And then exhale, pull the belly up, look down. Keep the elbows bending so the whole spine is in a C shape. And then sink the belly down, look up. And exhale. Let's do one more of that. Inhale for your cow. Keep the back of your neck long. And then exhale for cow. Now hands are towards top of mat space. We're going to just lift our knees up and start to walk out our legs one at a time. Melt your head down. So you're looking back at your toes. And you should feel like your little sitting bones, which are normally underneath you, are now the highest point in your structure.
I have to tuck it.
Yes. If you're doing yoga right, you'll have to readjust your clothing from time to time. That's just how it is. Because we're using our belly, we're using our under pelvic muscles.
We don't want distractions.
Exactly. One more breath. Wonderful. And then coming back down onto the knees. Bring your knees wide. So knees can be wide as the mat, or a little less wide, and then we want to sit back onto our heels. And the big toes are touching underneath us. So as close as you can get your sitting bones to your heels. If the knees are wide, the belly melts in between the knees, and then you keep reaching your arms forward. So I always encourage people not to just come down onto their elbows, but actually still feel the weight in your fingertips. And then you would melt your third eye down to the floor. One more breath. Excellent. walk your hands back and see if you can start to just slowly sit onto your heels. Now some people would need to put a block between their feet and sit on the block here. If you're not used to sitting on the tops of your feet, that can be kind of weird. Also, some people with knee issues have some issues here. So my version is with knees wide, but you could also bring your knees together here. And let's do one last little shoulder opener. So we're going to take our palms up. And if you didn't want to sit on your shins, you could always just sit on your seat for this as well. Bring your left arm behind your head. Try to touch your heart. And then grab that elbow with your right hand and just kind of get it nice and cozy in there. So this is a tricep opener, a little shoulder opener too.
This is especially good when you're on the computer, right?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is easy to do if you have a desk job. You could do this at your desk. Just,
I'm always slouching over the laptop.
make sure no one's watching. Do a little yoga. If you can, take your other hand, your right arm, turn the palm down, and then see if you can take the clasp of the fingers.
You may want to turn around.
Yeah, so from behind it looks like this. Now, this isn't super easy for everyone, so if you weren't able to grab it, you could hold a towel in your top arm and then grab the towel with your bottom arm. And then your head should be free of the top elbow. Wonderful. One more breath. And throughout all this, we're mindfully breathing, right? Let's do the other side. So release. Take your right arm behind the head. See if you can grab the elbow. And just get the hand to touch, exactly. The right hand touches the back of your heart. I even stick a finger right in between my shoulder blades, just kind of as though I were making contact with my heart. And then the left hand comes down around and sees if it can grab the clasp. Head is free of top shoulder. This is a little bit of a strengthener for your fingers too. So whenever we grab clasp of bind, our fingers are being strengthened.
So if our fingers don't touch, can we use a belt?
Yep, a towel or a belt. They make yoga belts specifically for that we'll have at a lot of studios, a lot of yoga studios. You can purchase them on Amazon. One more breath here. And release. And you can shake out your arms if they feel a little bit like spaghetti. And then come back onto your hands. Swing your legs around towards front again. Let's end our practice in a Upavishta Konasana. So Upavishta is spread legs, and maybe you should face me if you want to be sideways on your mat.
Oh, this way.
Does that work?
Yeah.
For our camera purposes?
Yeah, I think they'll get us.
Okay, good. So here, it doesn't matter how wide apart your legs are. Some people can get them to be like completely parallel to the edge of the mat.
I've seen that. Oh, wow.
Maybe I'll show you that in a minute. But it's really just like fine, even if they were just a little wider than your mat's width. So this is fine for some people. Some people find they need to bend their knees, and that's fine. And I don't mind that. Actually, if you had really tight hamstrings, you could bend the knees, you could hold behind, and you could help yourself to sit tall there, right? With feet flexed. But it's just like any other forward fold. We feel sitting bones and we feel heels on mat. So feet are a little wider if that's comfortable to you. And again, we're trying not to fall back on our tailbone. So some people think they're in a forward fold here,
Right.
but it looks like I'm literally going to fall backwards. So the main goal is to sit tall, and some people will feel the stretch already sitting tall.
Yeah. Now, I don't feel that much because I'm not going wide enough.
Mm-hmm.
But can you tell me what the importance of flexing the feet? Is that going to help me go further?
I like
I'd
to
like
flex.
to, but then
Sometimes I point my feet. I like to flex the feet because it gives me some idea if I'm overly turning my feet out or my legs
Right.
out, or if I'm turning in. Sometimes people's feet will turn in.
Right.
So if I see my toes going straight up, I know that my hips are in alignment
Right.
in a good way.
Because we only had about a minute, so I wanted to make sure that I got this one right.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a technique to getting it all the way out, and I'm not going to aim for that.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
No.
So then what we do is we bring our hands forward, and then we just continue the same pattern of inhaling to lengthen. So I'm feeling just like I'm sitting up tall, and then I release down and let my head go. And I don't ever have to move my hands forward, but I can if it's in my range of motion.
Ooh, now I feel it. Now I understand
There
why
it
I have
is.
to flex my feet. Okay, I can
Exactly.
really feel it.
And then at some point, some people can grab their toes. And then they can even melt furthermore. Eventually, heart touches down on the floor.
Sometime in the next century for me. You look so comfortable. Oh my goodness.
This is a lot of work, though, for me today. This is the first time I've done this today. I'm kind of like, oh, do it for the camera. So take one more breath.
So while Drue and I are marinating, guys, check him out. Check out Drue's credits when they come at the end of the show. Reach out to Drue. He can make you do stuff you've never thought you could be capable of. If I can go this wide, I think all of you can.
Amazing.
You are watching Yogaxpress. We've got about a minute or about half a minute left, so stay with us every Monday, 7:30 to 8. On behalf of my crew, Lizette and Akram and Ryan, we'd like to thank Drue Michael. Drue,
Thank you so much.
this feels so good.
Yeah.
I especially liked your tip where we flex the feet, because I
Yeah.
could feel that when
Yeah.
tried to go down.
You want to see lines of energy, like shooting through the heels, or if you're pointing, they shoot through the
Right.
toes. I see shapes when I do different things with my body. Like I think
Oh,
it's
wow.
a dancer's kind of thing. But yeah, we should see circles, circular energy, or triangles, or
That is
lines.
a beautiful observation. I'll tell you why, because when I was doing some teacher training overseas, they said all yoga is mathematical.
Mhm.
Like you have the triangle, whatever we do is either triangle or circle or whatever. They're all shapes.
Yeah,
Oh wow, I never even thought
it's
of it that
divine
way.
geometry.